Ascension messages. Earth's recent history, to Earth concept, Ascension. In 1926, Zeta/Zephilium from planet Apaxein-Lau began interacting with certain factions of several Earth governments. Several projects by Zeta/Draco were hatched up, intent on destroying Earth's energy matrix grid to stop us from evolving and ascending. The Zeta were involved with Atlantis for a time, with colonization of Mars. In 1948, the Zeta set up a frequency fence. This blocks dream state recall/astral, recall/out-of-body recall. In 1943, the Zeta offered the U.S. Navy the technology to make objects appear invisible, the Philadelphia experiment. The Zeta had an ulterior motive. They knew that a manufactured Merkaba field would disrupt Earth's natural Merkaba field, causing a rip in time-space. Through this tear or hole, the Zeta brought their ships in undetected, from which they fired EMP pulses at the Sun, disrupting the Merkaba fields of the Sun, causing them a reversal of polarity, becoming electrically charged rather than magnetically orientated. During 1946, an envoy from the Taygetian Palladians on 2 occasions met face-to-face with President Eisenhower, and offered him zero-point energy technology that would be free energy for all, in exchange for the cessation of using hydrocarbons for energy production, and in exchange for halting the Cold War by disarming all nuclear weapons. The same offer was made to the Soviet Union at that time, to prevent the potential nuclear holocaust that would follow. President Eisenhower refused this offer. Subsequently, many Palladian souls incarnated into 3D Earth, to effect a change from within the soup of dominant low frequencies manipulated by these dark forces. These are the Palladian star seeds. Many other interstellar races, at this time with the same concerns, began to incarnate into 3D Earth to also assist with this change from within, the interstellar star seeds. 1949 to 1972, during this period the Zeta's EMP pulses caused the Sun to behave abnormally with massive solar winds, and if the Guardians had not intervened, there would have been a major polar shift in the 1970s/1980s. The goal of the Zeta was to misalign the grids to enforce a frequency fence, to stop Earth/humans from ascending. In order for us to ascend, the sphere of Amenti had to be in place by 1988 and activated by 2000 AD. In the early 70s, the Guardians placed an 11/12 frequency fence to stabilize the damage caused by the Zeta. This frequency began to lift the frequency of Earth in 1992. Most of the Zeta/Draco made treaties or agreements with the Guardian races, except for a few resistant factions who still desired to own and control Earth. The primary Zeta factions were the Zeta Greys from the star Rigel, Orion system, known as the Regalians or the Fuchsi. The Guardians have set up a bridge zone project, which the Zeta Draco resistance are aware of, to further protect Earth. Once the sphere of Amenti was opened, and if the 4D frequency could not enter the Earth's core by the year 2000, the morphogenic fields of Earth centered at the core of our Sun would explode, taking out with it not only the 10 planets in the solar system, but also it would set up a chain reaction in the Palladian system, which we are a part of. In 2008, an off-planetary war in this quadrant of our solar system resulted in the confiscation by Taygetian Palladians of all reverse-engineered spacecraft that the secret space program arm of NASA had been using for their own agenda. This has now left the secret space program with no off-planetary warships. During this battle, the Taygetian Palladians recaptured the Moon, as outlined in an earlier discussion. The captured spacecraft are now parked in a cargo bay hangar inside the Moon. Also, as discussed earlier, the lunar matrix low-frequency electromagnetic wave generators are now back in the hands of the Palladians, who are incrementally raising the frequencies matching the raising of Earth's morphogenic resonance. The final conflict, the Zeta/Draco implemented a plan to reset their frequency fence in 2003. The main purpose is to keep humanity subdued, and for humanity not to make the ascension progression. A possible confrontation between the Guardians and the Zeta/Draco would destroy the Earth and surrounding planets. So confrontation at this level was not the answer, and in any case, if the Ascension plans were aborted or sabotaged, the Earth would come under the control of the Zeta/Draco. Either way, Earth would still meet destruction by 2976 AD, due to the abuse the Zeta/Draco have already inflicted on Earth. The solution was called the Bridge Zone Project, BZP. If implemented, since the Zeta/Draco could not be moved out of the way, the Guardians would move the Earth in its totality out of their way, avoiding the impending destructive time cycle. This would have naturally occurred in 4230 AD, but now must be forced ahead of schedule, 2018-2020, approximate dates due to changing timelines. The other option, two Earths. One would hold a higher morphogenic resonance compatible with Ascension, and the other a lower morphogenic resonance compatible to the Zeta/Draco frequency. For a while the two Earths will occupy the same time and space within our energy matrix. However, when the desired frequency is reached, one Earth and its inhabitants will ascend into a 5D reality in an instant. Great concern exists with the remaining Earth and its unawake or unwilling inhabitants, possibly leading to total destruction and annihilation, with a devastating outcome with serious implications reaching far out into the future. These destructive timelines have the possibility of wiping out civilizations, planets and star systems. There also exists the possibility for this Earth and all of its inhabitants to enter another 26,556-year time cycle, before the ascension process can be repeated. The Zeta had made calculations from the 1943 Philadelphia experiment, of how to inject electromagnetic pulses into the Earth grid, to set up their frequency fence. The Guardians responded by increasing Earth's Merkaba, morphogenic light frequency, field frequency that would make the Zeta plans useless, since their electromagnetic pulse would not reach the new Earth grid speed. HARP, a Zeta/Draco experiment, was a recalculation in the attempt to take back control. To be able to make a shift to the Guardian's bridge zone, the human population of Earth would have to assemble/manifest additional strands of DNA, or at least 8% of the population would need to assemble 5 strands of DNA, and at least 144,000 would need to assemble 6 strands of DNA. As stated above, the time shifting of a planet procedure is very complex, and requires full direct intervention and full approval from the spiritual hierarchy, that is very rarely implemented. Normally, people and planets are left alone to evolve according to the choices that they make. But, where there are consequences involving numerous planets and star systems, intervention is required. Earth is now in a state of perpetual crisis, while the majority of humans remain asleep and stuck in their ways or refuse to wake up. Timelines are now fractured, and the dominant frequencies that have in the past stabilized these timelines have disintegrated, and the Earth's energy matrix is in great flux, with new timelines appearing and disappearing in this constant changing environment. Today, the awoken few are on a new timeline, attempting to clear up the destructive pollution of karma on some of these timelines. There are many beings that are lost in time, incarnating or reincarnating physically, 3D, and non-physically, 4D, at these times, attempting to reconnect with their soul families and their authentic lineage. Past civilizations have left their markers as a reference point to jog the memories of these souls. Without these connections, entire existences with their experiences and journeys of these souls, measured over thousands and millions of years, will be lost forever, disappearing into oblivion. Also now drawn into our realms of existence are the beings of false light, who tricked many of these souls who thought at that time that they were working off their karma. Indeed, at the completion and harmonization of this convergence, a new octave and new universal matrix will form in an instant. This new universe is already in its embryonic state. There is an incredible focus upon our beautiful planet Earth at these times, with great wonderment of how we can collectively complete our part. Because these destructive karmic timelines will never be used again in the new universe, there is great concern for all the souls lost in time, that would under this current experiment face their total karmic oblivion, and all their experiences would be lost forever. Earth's final conflict is not a battle with these regressive beings, the battle is within the consciousness of humanity. All we have to do is wake up and open our eyes and hearts and simply choose again. All of these messages that we have been sharing with you contain one common thread: thoughts create, the time is now, we must wake up now. We are so close and now only requires our full and undivided attention. You have the tools, you have the understanding, and all that is required is the desire and commitment. This battle does not require for every soul to awaken. The critical mass to change the morphogenic resonance to 5D is within our grasp. Let us make it so. Thank you to all of you. Tawana, Tawa, adventure with joy, with all its multiple meanings.